There comes a time, often quietly, without warning, when the world stops looking your way. The phone doesn't ring like it used to. Your opinion isn't asked as often. You enter a room and feel invisible. And though no one says it out loud, a painful thought begins to creep in. Maybe I don't matter anymore. If you've ever felt this way, even for a moment, I want you to hear me clearly. You still matter. Not because of what you can do, not because of who remembers to call, but because of who you are and the life you've lived to get here. In today's video, we're going to talk about something too many people ignore, the quiet ache of feeling unseen in your later years, and why your worth hasn't disappeared, even if the world has gone silent around you. You haven't been forgotten, and more importantly, your presence still carries power. Before we begin, I'm asking you, from one elder soul to another, to do 3 simple things. Like this video, so others who feel the same way know they're not alone. Subscribe, because every week we remind older adults that they are still wise, still worthy, and still walking a meaningful path. Comment below, just say, I'm still here. That's all. Your words may give someone else the strength to say the same. Let's begin, because no matter what this world may forget, your life is still unfolding, and you matter, now more than ever. 1. You matter because of what you've lived through, not what you produce. In a world obsessed with productivity, it's easy to start believing that your value comes from what you can still do. How many hours you can work, how many people you can help, how quickly you can move, how sharp your memory is. But after 60, when your roles begin to shift, when you're no longer the center of family logistics or work deadlines, the question arises, if I'm not doing as much, do I still matter? The answer is simple. It's sacred. You matter not because of what you produce, but because of what you've survived. You've lived through decades that reshaped history. You've seen love and loss. You've held joy in one hand and grief in the other. You've navigated changes in society, in technology, in family, in yourself. And through it all, you're still here. That alone is a kind of wisdom no job title or paycheck could ever match. But the world doesn't always see that. It values speed over patience. It listens to youth louder than experience. And slowly, without anyone meaning to, people like you begin to fade into the background. But that's not because you've become less important. It's because the world forgets what endurance looks like. So I'm here to remind you, every scar, every story, every silent battle you've fought is proof that your presence is earned. You're not a relic. You are a living archive of lessons, of moments, of resilience. And whether you're actively caregiving or quietly reflecting, your life is still a contribution. Even when no one says thank you, even when your phone doesn't ring, even when your calendar is quiet. Your very existence pushes back against a world that wants to rush, consume, and forget. You are a reminder of what it means to endure, and endurance is sacred. Take a moment and ask yourself, what have I lived through that I've never really honored? Write in the comments if you feel brave, or simply whisper it to yourself. It matters. You matter. If this speaks to you, like the video now and subscribe, because in the next part, we'll talk about something just as important, why your quiet presence is still shaping the lives around you, even if no one tells you so. Stay with me. You haven't stopped making a difference. You just haven't seen how far your roots have grown. 2. You matter because your presence still shapes the people around you, even in silence. There's a painful lie many older adults begin to believe. No one really notices me anymore. The visits grow fewer. The questions stop coming. Decisions are made without your input. And slowly, the sense that you're no longer needed begins to set in. But here's the quiet truth that rarely gets said aloud. Your presence still shapes the people around you, even when they don't say it. You may not realize this, but your very being creates an atmosphere. Your steadiness, your stories, your calm in a world that's spinning faster every year. You may not be in charge anymore, but you're still a root, and every strong branch still draws from the root, even if it forgets to look down. Think about it. That adult child who doesn't call as often as they should, they carry your values in the way they raise their children. The grandchild who scrolls their phone through dinner, they still remember your hands in theirs. That neighbor who waves from a distance, they draw comfort from your steady presence across the street. You matter, not because they say so, but because you've been there, and your being there is an anchor more powerful than you know. We live in a time that rewards noise and overlooks quiet influence. But your wisdom doesn't need a microphone. Your impact doesn't depend on attention. It happens in the background, in the way people feel safer, calmer, more rooted just by knowing you're still in the world. And even if you live alone, even if no one walks through your front door this week, your life still radiates meaning. The way you speak to the clerk at the pharmacy, the way you say thank you, the way you greet a stranger, these things ripple. They matter. You may feel invisible sometimes, but invisibility is not the same as insignificance. And often, the most powerful forces in this world are unseen, like wind, like time, like your quiet influence on the people you love. If you've ever felt forgotten, comment below with just 2 words. I'm here, not because you need to be loud, but because your presence is enough. And if this truth touches something in you, like the video and subscribe, because next we'll talk about what happens when the world moves on without asking how you're doing and why your feelings still deserve space, respect, and care. Don't go anywhere. You still belong. You always have. 3. You matter because your feelings are still real, even if no one asks about them. As we grow older, something begins to happen that no one warns us about. People stop asking how we're really doing. Not just if we're taking our pills or getting to appointments, but how we feel inside. They assume we're used to loss, used to loneliness, used to disappointment. They believe silence means strength and independence means we don't need to be checked on. And so we stop being asked. And over time, we may even stop asking ourselves. But the truth is this, your feelings are still real. They still deserve a voice. And they're not less important just because you've carried them longer. Whether it's grief that still hasn't healed, regret you rarely speak of, joy you don't know how to share, or loneliness that visits quietly in the evenings, it all still matters. Because you still matter. It's common for older adults to feel a growing emotional distance from others. Maybe your spouse is gone. Maybe your children are busy. Maybe friends have drifted. And you wonder, if no one asks, is it worth saying anything at all? Let me answer that. Yes. Yes, it is. Because you are not just a body that needs care. You are a soul that needs connection. You have every right to feel hurt when you're overlooked, to feel frustration when others treat you like you've outlived your feelings. You have the right to express sadness, joy, nostalgia, and hope without apology, without minimizing yourself, without feeling like you're being dramatic. Your feelings are proof that you are still alive on the inside, that your heart still beats not just to survive, but to feel. And giving voice to those feelings, even quietly, even privately, is how joy finds its way back in. So today, ask yourself, how do I feel, really? Write it down. Speak it aloud. Share it in the comments if you're ready. You don't need to fix it all. You just need to know it's allowed to be there. Say this with me. My feelings are valid, even now. Whisper it if you must, but let it land. And if this spoke to something you've been holding quietly, please like this video and subscribe. Because next, we'll talk about how your wisdom still carries weight, even if no one is currently listening. The world may forget to ask, but that doesn't mean your voice has lost its power. Let's keep going. You're not just watching this. You're reclaiming your place in the conversation. 4. You matter because your wisdom still has weight, even if no one is listening right now. There may be days when you sit across from someone younger and feel the gap in language, in values, in pace. You want to share something that took you a lifetime to learn, but the moment passes. They're too busy, or distracted, or just not ready to hear. And slowly, a quiet question forms in your heart. Does my voice still matter? Let me be clear, yes, it does. Even when it's not acknowledged, even when it's brushed off, even when no one says, "Tell me more." Because wisdom is not measured by applause, it's measured by truth. And the truth you've gathered through heartbreak and healing, through raising families and losing friends, through decisions made right and wrong. That truth is not wasted, even if it's not received yet. You've walked through decades that most people can only read about. You've witnessed the world change again and again, and you've adapted, endured, and kept going. That alone gives your perspective a weight no textbook or algorithm ever could. Your wisdom is not outdated. It's rooted. It's seasoned. It's carried in the tone of your voice, in the gentleness of your patience, in the stories that live behind your eyes. And just because the world is loud right now, shouting over each other, rushing past meaning, does not mean it will always be this way. There will be a moment when someone will need what you know. A grandchild facing grief, a neighbor overwhelmed by life, a stranger who needs guidance. And when that moment comes, your words, the ones you thought had lost their place, will become exactly what's needed. But don't wait to be asked. Share it anyway. Write it down. Say it aloud. Pass it forward in a letter, a journal, a video message. Because wisdom that is not shared does not disappear, but wisdom shared becomes legacy. If you've ever felt dismissed when trying to offer advice or experience, say so in the comments. And if you've kept something inside for too long, maybe today is the day to let it out, even just a sentence. Like this video if you believe your wisdom still has a place in the world. And subscribe because in our next message, we'll talk about why your life still holds purpose, even if your days feel small or quiet. You're not done, not even close. Let's keep walking. 5. You matter because your life still has purpose, even if your days feel quiet. There's a myth many older adults begin to carry deep within themselves. The idea that purpose is something we're supposed to outgrow. That once the children are raised, the job is done, and the house is quieter, our reason for being must have somehow ended. That if you're not chasing goals or building things, then maybe you're just here passing time. But the truth is far more beautiful and more sacred. Your life still has purpose, even if no one tells you, even if no one notices, even if you're not sure what it is right now. Purpose doesn't disappear with retirement. It doesn't end with an empty house. It doesn't vanish when your body slows down. Purpose changes form. It becomes quieter, yes, but never less important. Maybe your purpose now is to be a steady presence in a chaotic world. Maybe it's to teach without a classroom, to forgive what younger hearts still hold on to witness, to remember, to remind, to pray, to love, to simply be. There are people you've never met who are better off because you are still here. There are moments unfolding today that are only possible because of something you did years ago. You may not see the threads, but they're there. We are all part of something larger, and your part in it is not finished. Purpose is not always loud. Sometimes it's a quiet nod, a gentle correction, a story told at just the right time, a smile you offer when someone feels unseen. These moments ripple, and the world is better because you still show up in it. And if you're still asking, but what am I supposed to do now? The answer isn't in a task list. It's in a posture of willingness. Be open, be kind, be curious, reach out, rest, listen, respond when your heart tugs. That is purpose too. If your days feel small lately, I want you to remember this. Even a candle in a quiet room brings light. You are that candle. Have you struggled with feeling like your purpose is behind you? Leave a comment below. Just say, still searching or still showing up. Either way, you're not alone. And if this reminder brings comfort or clarity, please like the video and subscribe. Because in our final reflection, we'll talk about what happens when we begin to believe we no longer matter, and how to gently reclaim that truth for ourselves from within. Stay with me. You matter more than you know. Maybe no one said it to you lately. Maybe it's been months or years since someone looked you in the eye and reminded you, without condition, without performance, without expectation, you still matter. Not because you're doing something extraordinary, not because you're needed to fix anything, not because you've earned another achievement, but because you exist, because you're still here, because your story didn't end when the noise faded. You matter because you've carried burdens others couldn't see. You've stayed kind when life wasn't fair. You've kept waking up even when the world seemed to stop noticing. And I want you to know, your breath still holds value. Your presence still holds power. And your heart, worn, wise, weathered, still holds something this world desperately needs. If today's video stirred something inside you, a forgotten hope, a quiet ache, a long-lost truth, I want to ask you right now to do 3 things. Comment below. Just say, I still matter. Let that declaration become a seed. Let it take root in you and maybe, just maybe, in someone else who reads it. Like this video, so that others who feel forgotten can find their way to this message. Subscribe because this isn't the end of the conversation. It's the beginning of a space where your life, your wisdom, your voice are not just welcomed, but needed. And until we meet again in the next video, please remember this. You are not invisible. You are not past your purpose. You are not alone. You still matter. Even if no one else says it. I just did, and I mean it.